Let me tell you something. The greatest pain in this life is not what you lose. It's not even what breaks you. It's when someone you trusted, someone you believed in, someone you gave your heart to, never comes back. That silence, that absence, it screams louder than any words ever could. There is a kind of pain that slips beneath the skin and hides in the quiet corners of the soul. It is not the sting of an argument, not the bitterness of harsh words, not even the sharp wound of betrayal. Those things, anger, rage, even betrayal, burn hot for a moment. They tear at you, they shake you, they make you want to scream, but then they begin to fade. The fire dies down, the storm passes, and little by little, you pick yourself up. Yet absence is different. Absence is not a fire. It is a cold, empty silence that lingers long after the shouting has stopped. Absence is the weight that never leaves, the shadow that follows you everywhere you go. Anger you can face. You can wrestle with it, fight it out, or even let it go. Words, no matter how cruel, can be forgiven because at least they were spoken. Betrayal, though sharp, at least reveals itself for what it is. You know what you're dealing with. But when someone you love, someone you trust, simply does not come back, there is no closure. There is no explanation, no confrontation, no opportunity to mend what was broken. It's like being left in the middle of a story with no final chapter, forced to reread the same unfinished pages over and over again. That emptiness cuts deeper than any argument because you are left alone with nothing but silence. Silence is louder than any scream you could imagine. It echoes in your head, it creeps into your sleep, it gnaws at your peace. You replay conversations, you rewind moments, you search for clues in every detail of what was said, what was done, what was left unsaid. You wonder if it was something you did, something you failed to do, something you couldn't change even if you tried. That is the cruelty of absence. It forces you to fight battles not with another person, but within your own mind. You become both the question and the answer, the accuser and the accused, and in that fight there is no victory, only exhaustion. See, when someone gets angry with you, at least they care enough to show emotion. When someone shouts, it means they want to be heard. Even betrayal, painful as it is, carries a kind of twisted honesty. At least you know where you stand, but absence says nothing. Absence is indifference dressed in silence. It is a closed door without explanation, a locked window with no key. That's why it cuts deeper, because it leaves you with nothing to hold on to, no reason to fight, no chance to heal. It doesn't burn you up in one moment. It drains you slowly, day by day. The human heart can handle many things. It can handle anger because anger fades. It can handle pain because pain can be processed. But absence lingers in the air like smoke from a fire that never burned in front of you. It hangs in your chest, making it hard to breathe. It is a wound that never closes because it was never given the chance to. That's why absence cuts deeper than anger, because it is not an event, it is a condition. It is not one moment in time, it is every moment after. And every day, every week, every year that passes, the silence grows louder. And maybe the most heartbreaking part is this: absence is not always intentional. Sometimes people leave because they don't know how to stay. Sometimes they don't come back because they don't have the strength to. But whether it's chosen or not, whether it's cruel or careless, the result is the same. The absence hurts more than the leaving ever did, because leaving can be explained, but not coming back. That becomes the question that never gets answered. And it is that unanswered question, the endless wondering, that makes absence the deepest cut of all. We are taught from the time we are children that time heals all wounds, that if we wait long enough, if we breathe long enough, if we push far enough, the pain will somehow fade. But the truth is, time does not always heal. Sometimes time doesn't close the wound, it stretches it. Sometimes time doesn't erase the memory, it sharpens it. Sometimes the days don't carry you further away from what hurt you. Instead, they circle back again and again, reminding you of what you lost, of what you miss, of what never returned. Time is not always medicine. Time can be a mirror, reflecting the scar you thought was gone. Think about it. Anger softens, heartbreak dulls. Disappointment can be replaced with new hope. But when someone you loved never comes back, when their absence becomes permanent, time doesn't simply erase them. No, time carves their memory deeper into your soul. Every birthday, every holiday, every small milestone becomes a reminder of who isn't there. Every empty chair at the table, every laugh that doesn't echo anymore, every silence in a room that used to be filled with their voice. It all becomes louder as time moves forward, because time doesn't always take away. Sometimes it adds weight, and here is the part people don't want to admit. The wound changes shape, but it never fully disappears. At first, the pain is raw. It feels like it could crush you, like you can't breathe without breaking. Later, it may not crush you, but it becomes something else. An ache that shows up when you least expect it. A song, a place, a smell in the air it pulls you back. Time has a way of disguising grief as memory, but memory is not healing. Memory is a reminder. It is proof that the wound never truly left. That's why time can be so cruel. It makes you believe you've moved on, only to show you, years later, that you've only been carrying the weight differently. People will tell you, give it time. But what if time is not a cure? What if time is simply a classroom, a place where you are forced to learn how to carry what cannot be fixed? Because that's what time does. It teaches you to live with the absence, to make room for it, to fold it into your daily life. But the pain, the reminder that never leaves, you don't heal, you adapt. You don't forget. You find a way to keep moving, even when the memory walks beside you. And sometimes that's harder than the wound itself, because you realize it's not about when it will end, but how long you can endure. And here's the deeper truth. Time only heals if the wound is meant to close. When someone doesn't come back, when the silence becomes permanent, that wound is not meant to close. It becomes part of you. You may dress it with strength, you may cover it with laughter, you may even build new joy on top of it. But the wound still lives underneath. It breathes with you, it wakes up with you, it walks beside you when the world goes quiet. And when time pushes you into anniversaries, memories, milestones, you don't feel healed, you feel reminded. That is why you cannot depend on time alone. Time is not the healer, presence is, love is, connection is. When those are missing, time can only echo the absence louder and louder. So yes, time may soften the edge of your grief, it may dull the sharpness of your pain, but it cannot erase what was real. Because when someone you cared for doesn't return, time is not a cure. Time is the reminder, and the longer you live, the more you learn. You don't stop hurting. You just learn how to carry the hurt without letting it break you. Loyalty is a word people throw around like it's easy. They say they're loyal because they stayed when things were good. They say they're loyal because they stood beside you when the road was smooth, when the sun was shining, when everything felt safe. But loyalty is not proven in comfort. Loyalty is proven in distance, in conflict, in silence, in the spaces where it would be easier to walk away and never return. Because real loyalty is not about staying when it's convenient. It's about coming back when it's hard. Anyone can stay when it benefits them. Anyone can sit by your side when there's laughter, joy, and comfort. But what about when the storms come? What about when mistakes are made, when tempers rise, when pride gets in the way? That's when most people leave. That's when silence becomes the easy choice. That's when doors close and people convince themselves that walking away is the only answer. But the rare, the true, the loyal ones, they come back. They don't return because it's easy. They return because they value the bond more than their ego, more than their pride, more than their convenience. Coming back requires strength. It requires humility. It requires courage, because when you return, you admit that the bond matters more than the hurt, more than the distance, more than the misunderstanding. It's easy to hold grudges. It's easy to stay gone. It's easy to tell yourself the story that walking away is final. But loyalty doesn't choose the easy path. Loyalty chooses the harder road, the road back, the road that says, yes, we stumbled. Yes, we broke. But I will not let the break define us. I will come back because you matter. And isn't that what we all crave? To know that someone will come back. To know that no matter what happens, no matter how deep the argument, no matter how wide the silence, someone will still choose to return. That is the deepest proof of loyalty. It's not in the promises they make when things are easy. It's in the footsteps you hear when you thought they were gone forever. Because coming back says, I choose you again. Not just once, but again. And again, and again. The truth is, staying is safe. Staying doesn't test you. Staying doesn't require risk. But life is not about who stays when it's easy. It's about who returns when it's not. Returning is sacrifice. Returning is choosing love over pride. Returning is choosing connection over silence. Returning is saying, I would rather rebuild this bridge than watch it burn. And when someone comes back, when someone chooses to return after the silence, after the distance, after the hurt, that is when you know their loyalty is real. So remember this. Loyalty is not proven by who stood beside you in your best days. Loyalty is revealed by who comes back after your worst. Because anybody can stand by you when the light is bright, but only the loyal come back when the night is long. And when they do, when they return, they prove something greater than love, greater than friendship. They prove commitment. And that is the kind of loyalty the world cannot break. When someone leaves and never comes back, the pain doesn't just live in your chest. It begins to live in your mind, and pain in the body can be soothed, but pain in the mind, that pain transforms, it takes shape. It becomes something heavier, something sharper. It becomes questions, endless questions, questions that don't stop when the day ends, questions that don't sleep when you lay down, questions that don't quiet even in the silence. Pain, in its rawest form, makes you cry. But pain, when it settles, when it lingers, when it refuses to leave, it turns into a voice that whispers, why, that is the cruelest thing about absence. It doesn't give you the answers you need. It doesn't give you clarity or reason or understanding. Instead, it leaves you with the weight of the unknown. You replay conversations in your head. You trace your steps. You analyze every look, every word, every pause. Did I say the wrong thing? Did I do enough? Was I ever enough? Those are the kinds of questions pain becomes. And no matter how many times you try to reason with yourself, no matter how many times you tell yourself to let it go, those questions creep back in. Because absence doesn't just leave a hole in your heart, It leaves an investigation in your mind. See, betrayal tells you what happened. Anger makes it obvious. Even rejection speaks clearly. You are not wanted. But when someone does not come back, when silence becomes the only answer, your heart is forced to write the story itself. You fill in the blanks. You create explanations, some fair, some cruel, some untrue. You convince yourself it was your fault. You convince yourself you could have done more, and the more the questions grow, the more they transform the pain. What started as sadness becomes guilt. What started as grief becomes self-doubt. That is the transformation of pain. It doesn't just wound you, it turns you against yourself. And isn't that the worst prison of all? To be trapped not by chains, not by walls, but by questions you can't answer. You can leave a place, you can escape a person, but how do you escape yourself? How do you silence the questions in your own head? That's the cruelty of pain when it becomes questions. You cannot outrun it because it travels with you. It shows up in quiet moments, it sneaks into your laughter, it shadows your joy, and no matter how far you go, no matter how much time passes, you find yourself asking the same questions over and over again, like a wound you keep touching to see if it still hurts. And maybe what makes it worse is this: the person who left, the one who didn't come back, they don't hear the questions, they don't wrestle with the silence. You do, you carry it alone, you fight battles with ghosts while they live their life untouched by the storm inside your head. That is the sharpest edge of absence. It makes the one left behind carry all the weight. They get the closure of walking away, while you get the torment of wondering why they never returned. And so the pain deepens. Because pain shared can be healed, but pain unanswered, that becomes a haunting. So the truth is this: when someone doesn't come back, the pain is not just in the loss. The pain is in the questioning. It's in the not knowing, the not understanding, the not being able to put the story to rest. Because when pain transforms into questions, there is no end to it. You don't get to close the book. You don't get to write the final chapter. You're left with pages that will never be finished, questions that will never be answered. And that is why the pain of absence cuts deeper than almost anything else. Not because of what happened, but because you're left forever asking why. We live in a world that measures love in things: jewelry, cars, dinners, houses. People wrap affection in price tags and convince themselves that what they give is proof of how much they care. But the truth: none of those things matter if you're not there. Your presence is the gift. Your voice, your time, your energy, your willingness to sit beside someone and just be there, that is worth more than anything money can buy. Because presence cannot be replaced, duplicated, or wrapped in a bow. Presence is the proof of love. Think about the people you've lost, the ones who never came back. Do you miss what they gave you? Do you miss the gifts they bought, the meals they paid for, the favors they did? No, you miss them. You miss the sound of their laughter, the way their presence filled the room, the way you didn't have to say a word but still felt understood because they were sitting right there. That's the thing absence teaches us. That presence is priceless. We don't crave things. We crave people. We don't long for what money bought us. We long for the company that money can't buy. Presence carries weight. When someone shows up for you, they are saying, "I choose you over convenience. I choose you over distraction. I choose you over everything else that could have kept me away." That's why presence feels sacred. It is the most honest form of loyalty. Because anyone can make excuses. Anyone can buy a gift at the last minute. But not everyone can show up consistently when it matters most. And when they don't come back, when their presence disappears, no amount of gifts, apologies, or promises can fill that void. Presence cannot be substituted. It is the one thing absence makes priceless. And presence isn't just about being in the room, it's about being truly there. You can sit in the same space as someone and still feel their distance. You can eat at the same table and feel their absence. Presence is more than a body. It's a heart, a mind, a soul choosing to engage, choosing to connect, choosing to lean in instead of turning away. That's why when someone doesn't come back, the silence screams. Because their absence is not just physical, it's emotional, and the heart knows the difference. The heart always knows. Your presence says, you matter. It says, I see you, I hear you, I value you. That's why children don't remember the toys, but they remember the games you played. That's why partners don't remember every dollar spent, but they remember the nights you stayed when it would have been easier to leave. Presence is the mark we leave on others, not through what we gave them, but through the moments we shared with them. And when that presence is taken away, when someone does not return, the memory of that presence becomes more valuable than gold, because it is irreplaceable. So if you still have someone in your life, if you still have the chance, don't mistake gifts for love. Don't mistake things for connection. Don't think your worth is measured by what you can buy or what you can provide. Your worth is in your presence, your ability to stand in the room, to listen, to comfort, to sit in silence and still mean everything. That's what people remember. That's what people carry. That's what makes absence so painful. Because presence is the gift you can't store away, you can't save for later. Once it's gone, and the heart never stops noticing the difference. Every one of us is writing chapters in other people's lives. Whether we realize it or not, we are leaving marks. Through our words, through our actions, through our presence, and yes, through our absence. Some of those marks are blessings, some are lessons, and some are wounds. And here's the truth. You don't get to decide if you are remembered. You only get to decide how you are remembered. That is why you must be careful not to become the ghost in someone's story. The one who vanished, the one who left questions instead of answers, the one who turned love into absence and presence into silence. A ghost is not just someone who dies. It's someone who disappears while still alive. Someone who walks away and never comes back, leaving the people who loved them haunted by what they don't understand. You see, absence is not neutral. It doesn't just end the story, it rewrites it. It takes what was once beautiful and stains it with unfinished pages, with loose ends, with memories that can't find peace. That's what being a ghost does. It leaves behind questions instead of closure, confusion instead of comfort, silence instead of love. And those who are left behind, they don't forget. They carry that haunting with them. It's easy to disappear. It's easy to convince yourself that walking away is cleaner, easier, better for both sides. But easy choices leave heavy consequences. Disappearing doesn't remove the bond, it just poisons it. Because the one who's left behind never gets to put it to rest. They don't get to understand, they don't get to heal, they don't get to move forward. You may think you're closing the door, but what you're really doing is locking them inside with questions they'll never be able to answer. That is what it means to be a ghost. You stop showing up, but you never stop haunting. But imagine instead being remembered for returning. Imagine being the one who came back, the one who didn't let pride or fear or mistakes keep them away, the one who proved that bonds matter more than silence. That's how you become light in someone's story, not a shadow. Because the truth is, everyone gets hurt. Everyone has misunderstandings. Everyone has moments where they drift away. But loyalty, love, connection, they are proven not by perfection, but by return. You don't have to be flawless. You just have to choose to come back. That's how you keep yourself from becoming a ghost. When you don't return, you reduce yourself in someone's memory to the moment of your absence. Everything else you were, the laughter, the joy, the comfort, the history, gets overshadowed by the silence. They don't remember the countless times you were there. They remember the one time you weren't. Because that's what absence does. It echoes louder than presence. That is why you must fight to come back, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's hard. Because coming back rewrites the ending. It gives the story dignity. It gives the bond closure, and it gives both hearts the chance to breathe again. So don't be the ghost in someone's story. Don't be the one who vanishes and leaves behind nothing but questions. Be the one who shows up, the one who comes back, the one who proves that presence is more powerful than silence. Because every story needs characters who stay, who return, who make the pages worth remembering. And if you still have the choice, if you still have the chance, choose not to be a ghost. Choose to be the presence they remember, not the absence they regret. Asterisk, so hear me when I say this. The pain you feel when someone doesn't come back, that pain is real, it's heavy. It cuts deeper than anger, it lingers longer than time, it fills your head with questions. It reminds you of the value of presence, and it teaches you the truth about loyalty. But you cannot let that pain turn you into the ghost in someone else's story. If you still have the chance, go back. If you still have the chance, show up. Because at the end of this life, it won't be the money, it won't be the gifts, it won't be the things you bought that matter. It will be the moments. Presence, the love, the choice to return. Don't let silence be your legacy. Don't let absence be your story. Choose presence, choose loyalty, choose to come back, because the greatest gift you will ever give and the greatest gift you will ever receive is simply this, you asterisk.